Well, first of all, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are. Thank you so much for joining us in this panel about setting the priorities for the usage of artificial intelligence in parliaments. It's my pleasure to be your moderator today in this discussion and to welcome Brahma Mishra, CEO from MeetMonk, Federico Fernandez, the head of institutional strengthening from the Senado de la Nación of Argentina, Mr. Fuat Bayramoglu, legislative expert from the Grand National Assembly of Turkey, and Ms. Kirsten Gullickson, the director of quality, just a second, director of system analysis and quality assurance of the Office of the Clerk at the U.S. House of Representatives. I have designed a few questions and considerations for us to discuss throughout our discussions today. But before I even start, I'd like to yield the floor to each one of you for 1 minute for you to introduce yourself and your relation to this topic and whatever information you feel it's necessary and relevant to share with colleagues at this moment. So I'll do this alphabetically if you allow me. Brahma, would you like to introduce yourself to the colleagues and your relation to the topic of AI in Parliament?
Thank you, Luís. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I'm Brahma Mishra, and the founder and CEO of MeetMonk, a deep learning AI technology startup. Our specialty is in, our flagship product is in real-time voice translation, which is kind of the need of the hour when globalization is the key, and reaching everybody in a language agnostic way is what we are shooting for. So we have developed something, and we are working with various parliaments to implement it, in which, on the floor, especially for bilingual and multilingual parliaments, what happens when the members speak different languages, everybody must be able to hear in their own language. If you understand a foreign language, even though you may speak different languages, but when you hear a different language, it reaches your mind. When you hear it in your own mother tongue, it reaches your heart, is what we believe in. So the goal here that we are trying to strive for is to break down the communication barrier, make the information accessible not only for the members in the parliament, but also the public of the entire citizenry. We have
Thank you.
Seen the powers and perils of AI, and yeah, I would love to discuss it today. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for introducing yourself to the colleagues, Brahma. I'd like to invite you, Federico Fernandez from the Senado de la Nación Argentina. And Federico, please feel free to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Luís. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. I would like to extend thanks to Luís for the invitation. My name is Federico Fernandez, and I currently serve as Director of Institutional Strengthening at the Argentina Senate, a position I have held for 12 years. At the present, we are working with external financial programs from institutions such as the Inter-American Development Bank, World Bank, and the Andina Development Corporation. One of the responsibility is overseeing the modernization of both parliamentary and administrative system within the legislative body. I hope that our collective contribution will benefit parliamentary system worldwide and support the technological advancement that lie ahead. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much, Federico. Mr. Fuat Bayramoglu from the Grand National Assembly of Turkey. Please, Fuat, feel free to introduce yourself to the colleagues. I think you're muted.
Excuse me. Hi, hello to everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. to all. I work at the Turkish Grand National Assembly of Turkey for the last 16 to 17 years, or 16 years. And I've been working at the research department. And we actually, I'm doing research on artificial intelligence. And we do research at the research department with the request of the MPs. So if there is a request regarding artificial intelligence, whether it be legislation on AI or other issues, other topics, we work on this subject. And for the last 7.5 years, actually, I also worked at the Turkish presidency. And I came back for the last 1.5 years. And I'm back at where I started my work at my career at the Turkish Parliament. And I'm happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fuat, for your introduction as well. Kirsten, would you like to introduce yourself to the colleague? Kirsten Gullickson from the U.S. House of Representatives.
Great. Thank you, Luís. Good morning and good evening to all of you. Thank you for inviting me, Luís, and it's a pleasure to meet everyone. And thank you for the attendees for joining. As Luís said, my name is Kirsten Gullickson. I work in the United States House of Representatives in a division called the Legislative Computer Systems Division of the Office of the Clerk. I've been with the House for several years, and I am related to the topic of AI because I am the product owner and product manager for two products, the legislative drafting tool that our drafters use to assist the members in drafting legislative proposals. And we also have a tool that uses natural language processors called the Comparative Print Suite that helps illustrate changes in those legislative drafts and also changes to our current law. And it's one of the first applications to use AI that's managed by the clerk's office. And so I'm excited to be here to talk about these topics. Thanks, Luís.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. Thank you all of you for your introduction. To inform the colleagues, I have prepared a few questions for our panelists. Time permitting, we are going to also open for questions from the audience. So please, if you have any questions, you may choose to add them on the chat, or if you prefer, again, time permitting, we will try to enable you to speak in the camera your question at the end of our panel. So without further ado, as we commonly see in our research in parliaments trying to give their first steps on AI, there is a very common challenge on establishing the priorities on which legislative services should be prioritized first. We usually recommend to colleagues not to go all in and trying to change multiple services at one time, but to have a step by step on different modules and start small, build in the internal capacity, the internal interest, the internal political support for transforming such services. And of course, diminishing the risks of innovating in our legislative frameworks. So given these contexts, I'd like to bring my first question, which is, we all know the constraints on limited resources and varying impact of different AI solutions. So a clear framework for prioritizing these initiatives could be very helpful, when not essential, for the success of such implementations in parliaments and legislatures. So I'd like to start with you, Kirsten. What frameworks could parliaments use to assess and prioritize AI initiatives in different legislative services, ensuring that the most impactful projects are implemented first?
Thanks, Luís, for that question. One of the things that I think we need to pay attention to in prioritization is we must analyze what brings the greatest value, not only to our elected officials, but to their staff and their public. And so we need to, and that's true for any IT project, right? Whether it's using AI or if it's using not using AI, is what brings value to our institutions and to the folks who are using the product. Here in the House, we've created a set of AI guardrails to inform the future adoption of the technologies. There are 5 of them. One is human oversight. So we know that in AI, we need human oversight and accountability. We have to make sure that we can trust the tool. We need clear and comprehensive policies. Like you said, Luis, like take it slow, be very pragmatic about what we implement and what we try to adopt. We have to test things. We have to have robust testing. Just because it's AI doesn't mean we have to move away from our software development lifecycle principles. We need to have transparency and disclosure. And then, of course, staff need to be educated on how to use these tools. Again, AI tools are just tools, and we need to make sure that they're accountable. We have human oversight, and we have trust in them. So to me, it's not that much different than other tools that we might bring on, but there is that added component that we need to make sure that we understand how it's used.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. Federico, would you like to comment on this question as well? I think you're muted, Federico.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. In our case, we believe that in order for parliaments to effectively evaluate and prioritize A&I initiatives, they must establish a clear framework that considers several aspects. For example, number 1, impact on legislative efficiency, solution that streamline processes such as drafting and reviewing of bill, searching for legislative precedents, and automating the analysis or later fulfillment of information should be prioritized. These initiatives not only accelerate parliament work, but also enable more informed decision-making. One example is the use of AI to analyze the impact of legal reforms, allowing the prediction of potential socioeconomic effects. Number 2, cost-benefit criteria. Given the limitation for resources, it's essential to prioritize initiatives where the return on investment is significant. Low-cost solutions, such as automation of administrative tasks or automated data analysis, can lead to considerable saving in time and resources. Conversely, more costly initiatives, such as implementing virtual assistants for citizens' access, should be evaluated based on the value they generate in terms of transparency and public participation. Number 3, meeting citizens and democratic needs. AI technologies that enhance transparency and civil society participation, such as public consultation platform and social media and opinion analysis, have a direct impact on democratic quality. Parliament should prioritize solutions that bring legislative activity closer to the public, facilitating access to public information and participation in legislative processes. Training and staff adaptation. No AI initiative will be successful unless it's accompanied by the solid training strategy. It is vital that parliamentary staff and the legislators themselves understand new technologies and know how to use them efficiently. This aspect must be prioritized when evaluating any initiatives, as a training is a key to ensuring its success. Additionally, in my opinion, Parliament can develop key performance indicators that include elements such as time saving, administrative efficiency, and improvement in the quality of legislative debate, facilitating informed prioritization. In conclusion, the evaluation and prioritization of AI initiatives in Parliament must be guided by a comprehensive framework that emphasizes legislative, efficiency, cost-benefit analysis, citizen engagement, and staff training. Initiatives that streamline legislative processes, such automatic information analysis and enhancing decision-making, should take precedence due to their significant impact on efficiency. At the same time, resource allocation should be carefully considered, prioritizing low-cost, high-impact solutions. AI technologies that foster transparency and democratic participation must also be prioritized to enough public trust and engagement. Finally, the success of any AI initiative enough and effective training, ensuring that the staff of legislators are well prepared to adapt the new technology. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Federico, for your considerations. I'd like to invite you to share your thoughts now, Fuat. I'd like to share your impressions around this topic and on what the colleagues commented as well.
Well, actually, when it comes, that's a great question. And when it comes to actually prioritizing AI initiatives in parliaments, especially with limited resources we're talking about, so we need to think both strategically and practically. And in this sense, actually, there might be some key frameworks maybe to write down. One of them being a risk impact framework. The other one being cost benefit analysis, which I definitely agree with Mr. Fernandez here. And the third one is strategic fit and alignment frameworks. So the first one being the risk impact framework, as I said. These frameworks actually will help parliaments assess and probably prioritize AI projects. So in the risk impact framework, the first approach is might be actually to categorize AI initiatives based on their risk and impact. So soccer is actually very famous in Turkey. So if we make an analogy here, think of it like a football soccer coach selecting players. So you want the players with the biggest impact on the game, on the match, without the risk of injuries. So when you're talking about high impact and low risk initiatives here, these might be like your star players, you know? So for instance, AI tools that can help transcribe parliamentary sessions in real time, like the ones used actually in the French National Assembly. They use speech-to-text systems, which is very essential, very important to use actually. So it saves time and improves accessibility. So this comes with high impact and low risk. The ones with high risk and high impact are actually, these are heavy hitters, but they come with some risk actually. So an example here, it could be predictive AI for policy making, which analyzes huge data sets to forecast the impact of policies. Now, well, this sounds amazing actually, but imagine if the data has biases. So this comes with high risk here. What Germany, for example, does here is they are cautious with these kinds of AI, the use of it in particular. Low impact and low risk. So this is the third subdivision here. These are the players you bring on in the last minutes, actually, in a soccer game. So useful, but not game changers in the sense. Think of like simple chatbots for answering the questions from the citizens. Frequently asked questions like the ones on the web pages, right? So like the ones used in European parliaments, they have it on their web page. The second framework might be actually the cost benefit analysis that Mr. Fernandez also pointed out. And I definitely agree here. And especially in public sector environments, it will work wonders actually. So the idea here is to assess the cost of implementing an AI initiative versus the benefits it delivers. For example, Estonia uses AI to transcribe parliamentary debates, and it's cost effective because it not only saves time, but also enables multi-language accessibility. So it's a small investment that comes with significant returns. Time saved, and better access here. So the parliaments also should focus on AI tools that offer scalability and long-term gains, aligning with both operational efficiency and broader national strategies like Turkey's 2021 and 2025 National AI Strategy. And the third framework, I just need a couple more minutes. The third framework is strategic fit and alignment. So it's important to assess how well AI initiatives align with parliamentary priorities and national strategies. For example, Turkey is already exploring AI in parliamentary procedures, focusing on transcription tools and document digitization. So initiatives that help streamline these processes should be prioritized in this sense. And again, as an example, Turkey, we have been in Turkey implementing 2021 and 2025 National AI Strategy that emphasizes digital transformation, local AI innovation, and public sector efficiency, which is very important. So to sum it up, Parliament can use these mix of frameworks, risk impact, cost benefit, and strategic fit frameworks, and put their limited resources where it counts. And there is another analogy actually here I would like to make. The Turkish breakfast is pretty famous. I don't know if you've heard of it. So there are lots of treats on the table, right? So you need to balance everything on the table so that everyone gets something valuable, whether it's simit as we call it, it's bagel, you know, it's like bagels, olives, or in this sense, in this context, AI-powered speech recognition, I should say.
Well, thank you so much for your considerations. I just have one follow-up question in 30 seconds, if you can. You mentioned
Yes,
about the transcription tool that you're planning to implement. Is this locally developed by the specificities of the Turkish language, or are you able to use larger models like Whisper from OpenAI or other models? How are you planning this very quickly?
As far as I know, actually, it's still not implemented fully because it's taken into consideration with caution, as far as I know, and because there are many things that should be taken into consideration, but local companies are involved.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for that. I love the associations that you made. I took a note of some of them, by the way. Brahma, would you like to share your thoughts on this as well? I mean, you are a technologist, you're working on AI, so I'm certain you have some comments and thoughts on this question on what the colleagues just shared as well. Please feel free to use the floor.
Sure, Luis. Thank you so much. It's actually very hard to add any extra points after Mr. Bayramoglu's. Sorry, apologies if I mispronounce your name, Fuat. But
it's okay.
wonderful points. The analogies you made and the frameworks you described here are, you hit the nail on the head. It's the low. So when we implement, when you work with our clients to implement AI technologies in forms of different platforms, the first two considerations are one, strategic, involving overall national vision, where you want to be in next 5-10 years, vis-a-vis some tactical decisions concerning your budget, your immediate service to the citizens, what the impact would be in short-term versus long-term implementations of AI projects. So it's even though it's AI, the basic tenets remain unchanged from non-AI projects, as Kirsten mentioned. The process is to discover what is more important versus what can be pushed to a little later stage, depends on several project management and strategic frameworks. I would like to mention a few. One is a Moscow method. The name comes from must-haves, should-haves, could-haves, and won't-haves. So you have to really prioritize what you must have today vis-a-vis the the risks they come with, because there's no gain without pain. You have to take some risks, but how much risk is within your permissible limits? How much you can risk in terms of implementation, in terms of technical abilities, in terms of maturity of the AI tools, in terms of the budget you have in the time frame that you are talking about. And always, high-tech projects come with a certain risk of failure, what you have seen over a period of time. So you have to take all these into considerations before you decide on embarking a new AI journey. There are several other frameworks. I'll just mention one more, and that would be delighters versus performance versus basic. So I'll give you an example. When we talk to the parliaments and we say, well, you have document translation requirement, you have direct speech transcription requirement, and all these you have touched upon, all, my colleagues have touched upon all these requirements. So, and third is directly translating speech to speech technologies. Which one of these would you like to implement? So if I can, associate these, direct speech to speech, I speak in one language, you hear in another, is a delighter. People are like, wow, is that technology possible even to do this? But you have to remember that this is entirely AI driven. There could be minimal to none human intervention in this. So it's a delighter, but it does come with a little bit of risk. AI is maturing very fast, but it's not at a stage where it can completely replace human interaction or intervention. As a result, it comes with a risk, but it's a delighter. Then comes performance. Performance, I put two things in the performance category, which is one, the transcription of a speech. You speak, it's speech to text. It is performance. It does come with a human element to it, where it's not real time. You can actually vet and make sure it's 100%. And second is document translation. One set to another, you can first use AI and even human vetting. So it is a performance, it's high volume, it does actually serve a lot of your purpose, but it also comes with the guardrails. And third is the basic functionalities, which would be doing some analysis, doing some searching and tagging of documents and videos, and so on and so forth. So those are not the forefront of requirements of either members of the parliament or the citizens, but it actually increases efficiencies manifold and reduces the time and monetary investments. So it's a basic function, so lowest risk, but at the same time, lowest wow factor among the users. So you have to really take your calls as to see where it makes maximum impact in increasing the efficiency, decreasing the risks, and overall impacting the processing of the parliaments. Like I said, with all this, the biggest things to consider are what is your budget constraints, when you want to implement and what you want to implement. Second, how much is your appetite for risk-taking and what is the rewards thereof? And third is, how much does it serve? You're having a wonderful project, which is probably the best in the universe. If it still doesn't serve your members and citizens, it's useless. So using technology, the end goal is to have, serve your citizens and serve the national overall policy, the process, the vision is the key to it. Taking all this into consideration, I know it's a lot of things to consider, but nothing, when you are talking about large-scale implementations, all these points have to be considered to make the project a success. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brahma, for your considerations as well on this topic. And I'd like to bring a second question to all of you, but starting with Federico, if I may, which is, well, we have been recently writing a book about different experiences on artificial intelligence in different parliaments. And one case that caught my attention was, what about those parliaments that started to modernize 40, 30, 20 years ago? They still have those old frame legacy systems, or even they rearrange their procedures and processes for those systems, a situation that Parliament's taking on the AI technologies of today might have to face 10 years, 20 years from now. But my point is the challenges on implementing new tools that are evolving every day with these systems that are quite challenging on integrating other technologies or new technologies without stopping the parliamentary procedures to actually do a completely overhaul on that particular system. So this is a challenge that we see in many parliaments, many colleagues saying that we need to find a way to make adaptations, but in many cases, it's simply almost impossible to completely change the operating system as we have today. So with that in mind, we know AI offers promising advancements, as all of you shared on the first round. And many parliaments, they still rely on these legacy systems and long-established processes and procedures. And it's essential to understand how these factors play a role in selecting and prioritizing AI initiatives to ensure the compatibility, the efficiency, both from the technical IT side, but also from the process point of view on the business area. So my question to you, Federico, how should the existence of these systems and traditional parliamentary processes influence the prioritization of AI projects? Should we tackle head-on those processes that we still rely on old legacy systems, or should we go around them and try to build up the capacity for tackling these problems? So please feel free to use the floor, Federico, to share your thoughts.
Okay, thank you, Luis. Good question. On the particular point, the coexistence of legacy system and new technologies is one of the biggest challenges when implementing AI in parliaments, today specifically. The following topics, our point highlight how the system influence and the prioritization of AI projects. For example, technological compatibility. Many legislative institutions still operate with all IT systems developed decades ago. Implementing AI requires ensuring that new tools are compatible with existing platforms, or at the very least can integrate seamlessly with them. They involve through technical analysis prior to adopting AI solution to ensure that not conflict or disruption arise in critical parliamentary processes. Another topic we have is a gradual transition. It's essential that AI implementation does not occur in a disruptive manner. Modernization must be progressive, integrating AI solution into specific processes without altering the overall functioning of the parliament. A prudent approach would be to start with the pilot project in less sensitive areas, such as automating corresponding, handling ourselves in AI to organize legislative databases, and then extending it to its more critical areas. The other point is respecting traditional parliamentary processes now. Parliamentary work has a structure that must be respected. Any change must take into account in the formal procedures and the protocols that have been established to ensure the integrity of the legislative process. AI can serve as support in this context, for example, by facilitating the rapid evaluation of bills or automating the tracking of amendments without modifying key institutional procedure. other topic, it's important, is a risk of dependence on obsolete system. Legacy systems present risk related to security, operational failures, and technological limitation that can affect the efficiency of any AI initiative. Therefore, it's important to prioritize solutions that not only are compatible with existing systems, but also complement or improve them. No? This could include implementing AI to monitor and anticipate failures in current systems, contributing to prevent maintenance. In my opinion, the other topic that is important is the cost of updates and maintenance. Legacy systems often require high maintenance costs. One priority should be evaluating whether a AI solution can reduce this cost through the automation of monitoring or diagnostic tasks. Investing in AI that can reduce the manual workload and obsolete system may improve operational efficiency and allow for the relocation of resources. In conclusion, the integration of AI into parliamentary system require a carefully balancing act between modernizing processes and maintaining the integrity of a legacy system. Technological compatibility is a key, as an AI tool must seamlessly integrate with existing infrastructure to avoid disruption in parliamentary function. A gradual transition is recommended, starting with the pilot project in non-critical areas, ensuring that AI enhances, rather than disrupt traditional processes. Furthermore, AI roles should complement legacy systems, addressing potential risks like operational failures, while contributing to more efficient and cost-effective maintenance. By prioritizing AI solutions that align with these objectives, Parliament can modernize effectively while preserving the core element of their operation. Thank you, Luis.
Thank you, Federico, for your considerations. Very interesting. I'd like to invite Kirsten to share her thoughts on this topic and on what Federico just commented as well. Kirsten, please feel free to use the floor.
Thank you, Luis. I agree with everything that Federico said. I mean, in fact, my remarks almost mirror his remarks. I think I'm just going to use those same in different words, but my words are exactly what Federico. We are bound by the rules, traditions, and practices of each of our institutions. And he said that we need to respect them. And I would add that we need to really try to understand the constraints and the traditions of the institution. When the folks who built the legacy system, we're uncovering some of those things in a modernization project we're under right now. We have a legacy system that was built 30 years ago. We're putting it in a new tech stack. And there were some decisions that they made because the practice at the time was the practice at the time. And now we're uncovering, do we need to carry those things over into the new system? So we absolutely need to recognize what we inherited in those legacy systems. And we also need to understand that our institutions and our elected members in Parliament and in the United States Congress, they have forever changing needs. And so when we're talking about fixing the legacy systems or building new systems, I would add that we need to make sure that we can keep them nimble and that we can keep them responding. And I would echo Federico's remarks that we can move fast when we can, and we move slow and pragmatic when it's warranted, because for us in the clerk's office, our ability to support the members in the work that they do and our operational integrity is really key. And we need to make sure those legacy systems are maintained and that we continue to improve and modernize. And I like what Federico said about the going slow and using pilot projects and really doing that analysis. And I think our previous discussion on the frameworks, like they all align with this, that strategic fit, the alignment, small deliverables. So thank you, Luís.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. Just a very brief comment based on a recent conversation I had with a former colleague at Google. And we don't realize how technologies that we were very used to use, for example, search engines, might become obsolete. And according to their research, they are predicting that very quickly search engines, which is their main operation, will become obsolete, because newer generations, they don't use this kind of research form anymore. They use conversational models. They use, something that I was profoundly impressed. They use TikTok for research. Yes. So they search for content, for answers on TikTok or on Instagram or in other platforms. So I have to say, it was a very weird feeling to see, okay, we are, what we thought was cutting edge is becoming obsolete.
Yes. So. I would add to that, Luís, that I had the similar experience. I was in a training class to learn how to do the prompts from a project manager perspective, and to do the prompts in all the different AI tools that are out there. And it was very interesting, the different results you can give based on the different prompts across all the products. So when we talk about upskilling and how users really work, depending on whether we're seasoned, unseasoned, a new employee, older employee, that we really have to pay attention to that. So that's a fascinating add there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. Well, allow me to give the word to Brahma for him to share his thoughts. Brahma, would you like to share your impressions on this as well?
Sure, and thank you so much. Wonderful discussion so far. Very, to the point. Yes, so the key is to see, respect the legacy system, understand that it's time tested, and there's always a human component to it. And it's true for parliaments and even non-parliament projects, for AI and non-AI projects, and that is to go slow, to do pilots, to understand the landscape, to kind of do a parallel run, have legacy in the background, just fail safe for the purpose of fail safe, but have the actual new implementation in AI run until everything is the dust settles down, everything is running smoothly, and then slowly wind down the legacy system. Those are the keys. But my point here is to look a little beyond, to plan ahead. Why? Because when the legacy systems were designed 20, 30, 40 years ago, there were a lot of technological challenges. There were things that we take for granted today were just not available during that time. So they were designed to serve a solo purpose. Whereas now we have designed things which are interconnected. So if we just mimic the capabilities of legacy, keeping those blinders in place, we may be doing disservice to the technology. We are restricting ourselves from achieving what technology could offer. For example, so when analog cameras were there, they were just for taking pictures and developing them in dark rooms and getting out. They were wonderful. But then digital cameras came and they became obsolete. The analog cameras became obsolete. Digital cameras were really good for sharing pictures. But now hardly anybody uses digital cameras because of interconnectivity. You take a picture on your phone, it automatically goes to iCloud or your Google storage. You don't have to do anything that's in the background. You can access anywhere. You can do anything. It's automatically geotagged. You know where the picture was taken, at what point it was taken. It creates its own collage. It creates even a music video, a video sequence with music attached to it. Why these are possible? Because we opened ourselves up and we adopted and we adapted these things, both adapted and, we opened our arms, and the interconnectivity, we allowed it to take over. Similarly, when we design new systems with AI, we have to think that system has come a long way now, its interconnectivity, but also in 10 years' time, it will scale new heights. It will go to certain areas that we have not thought of, that we did not think of 30 years ago when the legacy system was implemented. So you have to kind of keep that room in the design for the new systems to come in and improve our lives manifold. What those would be, very difficult to imagine, because we have not reached that. We don't know the future. Just to allow that room is the key. To understand that there are possibilities. It's an exponential growth. So we have to understand that technology can achieve in 10 years that we have not imagined yet. So that's why you have to, and I liked a very good point from Kirsten, is that we have to be nimble. It has to be small, contained, but at the same time must have the ability to shake hands with other systems, must have importance to interconnectivity, so that once we speak here, do something, it should have probably a system will come out when you speak here, you will already have the references to other legislative articles, legislative implementations, other policies right on your face when you are speaking. You don't have to go back to your office and refer to the documents. It could happen in the next 10 years. You have to think for it, have room for it, and have those developments in place. That's all my considerations would be. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brahma. You started to touch on my last question, which is very good. I'd like to invite Fuat to share his remarks. Fuat, please feel free to use the floor, share your thoughts on this question and on what the colleagues just commented as well. Please feel free. I think you're muted.
Well, legacy systems and AI projects, and this is not just about technology. It's about respecting, in this sense, tradition while embracing the future. So legacy systems are definitely very important and are the backbone of actually many parliaments. I'll like to give examples here. It's like the National Assembly of France, which still uses actually a speech-to-text system that requires manual oversight. So, or the European Parliament, for example, in the sense where many AI initiatives are still in the experimental phase. And legacy systems are deeply rooted in how parliaments operate. So they are still there. They're not going anywhere soon. So they have evolved over time, and in many cases are still effective. And let's just not forget here that just like an old reliable car that may not have all the modern bells and whistles, but just gets the job done. So it's definitely in need. And but on the other hand, AI offers a wealth of possibilities. So from automating transcription, just as I mentioned in the previous question, or enhancing document digitization, which is used in the Turkish parliament, for example, with the name e-parliament in the sense. So compatibility is key in here, just like Mr. Fernandez mentioned. Legacy systems may have been built to handle the processes of the past, but the world has changed, and so too must the systems we rely on in the sense. But how do we actually reconcile these two realities is your question, and makes a lot of sense actually. And I think the first step is to take slow, just like Mr. Gullickson said, and we need to take a gradual approach, just as we wouldn't rebuild a bridge from scratch. Yeah, we need to inspect the foundation. We shouldn't just replace the system without a thorough understanding of how it works. But how the old system works, or how it can work with AI in this sense. So a good example here, with the Turkish parliament is the e-parliament system, actually, which we use, which was implemented to digitize and improve document management in the sense. So while the system modernized many aspects of parliamentary operations in Turkish parliament, it did not completely replace the traditional procedures. So the traditional procedures and some sort of like paperwork is still there. But on the other hand, with the help of AI, the e-parliament system is enrolled. So instead, it worked alongside them. So the key here is to prioritize AI initiatives, actually, that enhance and rather than disrupt legacy systems. Well, this leads to the question of actually, on the other hand, the process compatibility again. AI is great, but it's not a silver bullet. So it needs to fit into the existing parliamentary workflow. And many traditional processes in the parliaments are grounded in accountability and transparency, values that AI must support. For example, in the German federal parliament, AI, again, is cautiously being introduced in areas like document digitization and classification, and always with an eye towards ensuring that human oversight remains a critical part of the process. So human oversight is still there and is still needed. So another factor we must consider is staff readiness. And this brings us to the importance of actually training the staff, the parliamentary staff in the sense. And AI solutions, and no matter how advanced they are, will only be as effective as the people using them. So in this sense, training stands out as a very important aspect. And another point, we must approach AI adoption with a mindset of improvement, but not replacement. So again, we need to improve, but not replace the legacy systems. In fact, this is where actually in the previous question I mentioned, remember, cost-benefit analysis framework could become useful. And when selecting AI projects, parliaments might ask and say, does this AI initiative significantly improve an existing process, or are we just adopting it for the sake of modernity, right? So a great example is, again, the one we use as just like the e-parliament system that digitized document management and streamlining the processes without discarding traditional methods. But also this shouldn't, we need to mention the long-term vision as well. And in Turkey, as there are a couple of times I mentioned, remember the 2021 and 2025, a national AI strategy. There's a clear emphasis on the role of AI in supporting digital transformation while ensuring the protection of human rights and data privacy. So these are also important measures in this sense. These priorities are essential when selecting AI initiatives for parliaments. And lastly, the existence of legacy systems and traditional processes in parliaments should not be seen as barriers to AI adoption. Instead, they should act as a guiding force in helping us choose AI initiatives that complement and enhance what already works, what's already there. It's not about replacing the old with the new. It's about ensuring actually the new makes the old work better.
Thank you so much, Fuat, for your considerations on this topic. Really interesting. And allow me to bring my next question to you. We already started discussing it in the second round, but I'd like to continue this conversation in this line, which is what we have as cutting edge technology today in just a few years will become obsolete, and in a few more years it might even become an obstacle for the modernization of the institutions, in our case, parliaments. So my question is, how can we ensure the long-term sustainability? How can we keep these solutions adaptable, not only from the technological point of view, but also from the internal processes point of view? How can we keep the institution responsive to the emergence of new technologies, to new methodologies to be worked in the future. Please feel free to share your thoughts on that matter.
Well, again, I may give a couple of examples here as well. And adaptability, actually, and recognizing adaptability in the sense starts with right foundation. So AI systems in the sense should not be rigid and one size fits all solutions. So instead, they must be designed with modularity and scalability in mind. So right here, actually, a good example might be the AI initiatives that comes from the Dutch Parliament. There is a pilot project called Musa, actually, and this AI system was introduced to transcribe parliamentary debate, but instead of fully replacing the existing manual transcription processes, it was integrated as a supplementary tool. So by keeping the human element involved still. So they ensured that AI could be monitored and adjusted as needed. So the project also left room for scaling the AI to handle other parliamentary tasks, such as archiving and indexing documents. So it left room for improvement in that sense. So parliaments that can adopt AI projects that enhance rather than disrupt existing processes, just like we talked about in the previous question. And think about, for example, the speech-to-text AI systems used in many parliaments today. Those systems can provide real-time transcription in multiple languages. But what about in 5 years? As AI models become more advanced, perhaps these tools will need to handle like sentiment analysis or detect rhetorical devices in real time. So by selecting AI systems in the sense that are scalable, parliaments actually can ensure that these technologies can be enhanced and adjusted as the institution's needs evolve. So another key factor comes up here, which is long-term sustainability, is to focus on open standards and interoperability. So AI systems should be able to communicate with other technologies and regardless of the platforms or vendors involved in the sense. So this is especially important in a parliamentary setting where there are multiple systems in place, from document management to video archiving and beyond. So a rigid AI system that cannot work well with others is not good indeed. So we say in Turkey, you know, one hand can't clap on its own. So it has to be compatible and it has to work well with other systems as well. So in this context, there's a lot to learn from other countries. The Finnish example, for example, Finland Parliament uses AI to subtitle parliamentary videos. So Finland's system was designed with future integration in mind, so allowing the AI to work with both legacy video formats and future streaming technologies, which is very important again, and which addresses actually your question, I believe. Another crucial element is ongoing human oversight, as I mentioned, both in this question, in this answer, I believe. And another point, data governance. AI systems are only as good as the data they are trained on. So over time, the data landscape may change, right? So, and what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. For example, as new types of legislative data are generated, such as digital petitions, for example, social media feedback, or even big data from public consultations. So AI systems need to adapt to process and these processes and analyze these new inputs in the sense, I believe. And another approach here should be to ensure long-term adaptability is collaboration again. By collaborating with universities, research institutes, and private sector experts, parliaments can ensure that their AI initiatives are built on cutting-edge knowledge and technologies. So they need to stay in contact with the others in this field. So lastly, parliaments actually must consider the legal and regulatory environment as AI technologies advance. they bring new ethical and legal challenges as well. So data privacy, algorithmic transparency, and the potential for bias in AI decision making are all issues that must be addressed. So these are very important ethical questions that should be addressed actually in this sense. And as a result, ensuring that the AI initiatives remain adaptable and sustainable in parliamentary settings it's not a technical challenge, but it's a holistic endeavor actually. And from selecting scalable and modular technologies to establishing strong data governance and oversight, there are many factors that parliaments must consider. So there's a saying, you know, in Turkish, actually, the journey is just as important as the destination. So let's make sure that the AI journey is a thoughtful and well-planned one.
Well, thank you so much, Fuat, for the very insightful considerations on your opening answer. I'd like to invite Brahma to share his thoughts on this question as well. Brahma, please feel free to use the floor.
Thank you, Luis. Great discussion so far, but I have a different take on it. First off, absolutely, there is no question on the fact that AI is here to aid, not to replace. It has to aid human capabilities, advance it, and the main difference I see is that humans possess something that AI has not achieved yet, and maybe it will never achieve, I don't know, which is the critical thinking, the critical analysis. There are two ways, two types of analytics. One is two types of reasoning, analytical reasoning and critical reasoning. AI has achieved wonderful feats in analytical reasoning. It can crunch billions of bytes of data and come to a conclusion that humans will take months and AI will take seconds to get to it. Wonderful. But when it comes to critical component of human thinking, AI is far from achieving yet. So we need humans in the loop, always, no questions on it. But where I beg to differ is where in place. I believe that's not a static frame of reference, that is dynamic, that is fluid. I'll explain what I mean. So right now, in most of the parliaments, what they do is when there is a speech-to-text conversion, or there is document translation, we deploy humans to look and vet for the inaccuracies, make sure the document is correctly translated, correctly transcribed, the essence is completely maintained, right? But now AI is evolving. Just yesterday, I was helping in a prototype conversation translation for a Ministry of External Affairs for a certain country. And guess what? When we transcribed our AI has advanced so much that it has achieved something like eliminating the repetition. So when we were analyzing the video, the External Affairs Secretary was saying, I think we should do this. AI recognized the repetition, eliminated the unnecessary words, and just wrote the sentence as it should have been. So AI has advanced to that stage. Does it need a manual verification? No. Probably 6 months ago or 1 year ago, I would have gone in, or somebody else would have gone in and deleted the repetitions. Now AI does it for us on its own. Profanity filters. AI has completely eliminated any profanity from printing on the output. Gender recognition. It does wonderful gender recognition unless somebody has cold or fever or something happened to the voice. It can do a gender recognition with an aplomb. Then diarization. We are able to achieve diarization just by understanding human voices. Earlier, the idea was to first speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, then somebody would go in, listen to the voice, and then instead of speaker 1, put Luís, instead of speaker 2, put Federico, and so on and so forth. It doesn't have to do anymore. Diarization is there. So when we talk about human oversight is not static. That will keep evolving. There are a lot of things that AI will do. We'll just go see, vet, and move on to the next level. So as a result, the efficiency will keep increasing. Human vetting will be much faster. A lot of things AI will take care of for us. So we have to recognize and embrace the fact that our responsibility, our busy work will keep reducing. Our intellectual work will keep increasing. As a result, the outcome will be more, the output will be more, the faster rate of delivery will be achieved. But at the same time, humans must be trained to understand this fact, to anticipate the change, and to be prepared for the future. That's what I see as the new advent, the new age of AI, which will keep changing. So what we have achieved in last 50 years, 100 years, probably will achieve in next 2 to 3 years. It's that fast rate of growth. It's a new paradigm in which not one component is changing, but multiple things are changing. All we have to do is keep an open mind, keep embracing the changes, and keep training people so that when the goal changes, the goalpost moves, they keep moving to be on track and to make sure the guardrails are safely protected. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brahma, for your considerations on this topic. Federico, would you like to share your thoughts as well with us?
Yes, of course. In long terms, Parliament must ensure that AI initiatives remain relevant and sustainable. We must consider some aspects that will help guarantee the adaptability of this solution. For example, a constant technological evolution. AI is a technology that is continuously evolving. For implemented solutions to remain effective, they must be designed with the necessary flexibility to adapt to new tools and advancement. A modular approach where systems can be updated or improved in parts facilitate this adaptability. Open source technologies can allow for easier updates and prevent technological stagnation. On the other hand, long-term planning. Parliaments must design their AI strategies with a forward-looking vision. This includes not only the initial investment, but also the provision of resources for continuous maintenance and updating of tools, of course. Additionally, they must ensure that the solutions are aligned with potential legislative reform and changing citizen demands. On the other topic is continuous staff training. It's so important. For AI to remain useful, staff must be continuously trained on new updates and tools introduced. This should also include training programs for new employees, join the Parliament, ensuring a uniform understanding of AI usage. Implementation of technological audits. A key component, this is an important topic because a key component to ensuring the sustainability of AI solution is conducting regular audits of their performance. This will help identify areas for improvement and ensure that the tools continue to meet the original objectives. Feedback from end users such as parliamentarians and administrative staff is vital to adjusting solutions to the real needs of the Parliament. And also collaboration with the technological ecosystem. What is this? Parliament should stay connected with the innovation ecosystem by participating in forums, collaborating with universities, and maintaining partnership with AI specialized companies, for example. No? This is not only facilitate the adoption of new technologies, but also enable the institution to anticipate emerging trends and prepare for the future challenges. In conclusion, for me, ensuring the sustainability and adaptability of AI initiatives in parliaments require a proactive and flexible approach. Given constant evolution of AI solutions, must be designed with the capacity for regular updates, and improvements. Adopting modular or open source frameworks avoid obsolescence. Long-term planning is crucial with a focus on not just initial investment, but also the allocation of resources for continuous maintenance and learning. AI tools with potential legislative reform and shifts in public needs. Continuous training for the staff, including new employees, ensures effective use and adaptability of AI technologies. Regular technological audits and feedback from users will help refine and enhance AI system over time, of course. Finally, collaboration with the broader technological ecosystem include universities. It's important, no? And specialized companies is essential for staying ahead of emerging trends and preparing for the future challenge in the parliamentary work. Thank you, Luis.
Thank you, Federico, for your considerations. I'd like to invite you, Kirsten, to share your thoughts on this matter as well.
Thank you so much. This is an excellent discussion. I agree with everything that you all have said in regards to the adaptability and sustainment of our initiatives. The way that I frame it, particularly in the U.S. House, where our stakeholders are elected every 2 years, so we are constantly having to educate the staff and those who have to provide our funding. What did we do 5 years ago? What did we do 10 years ago? And so I'm often, either with older initiatives or legacy things, or with our newer initiatives, reminding them that you may be funding a project that has a start and an end date, but we're building a product. And so we're going to put at the start of that project, how much it's going to, what is our predictable sustainment that we need to sustain this product, but you may be only funding a part of it as a project. So, and I think, at least in our institution, we always thought in terms of a project with a start and end time, and we had stakeholders who did not think about that continued investment or that continued training, or that we might need a new staff person to help with product sustainment. And so this discussion that we're having about sustainability is so important, because you need to give those initial funders or that initial project outline. We need to start mentioning those. And I think that's a relatively new thing in recent years. In 20, 30 years ago, we didn't talk about what does sustainment or maintenance, or what does that review cycle talk about, and where's our cost benefit analysis to reviewing, do we need this product anymore? Do we need to sustain it, or has those features and capabilities been transferred somewhere else, or are our users using something else? So I think these discussions are really important at the start of a initiative, to make sure that we're talking about the sustainment. And again, I absolutely agree about training our staff. We need to continually make sure that our technologists and our IT developers are being upskilled, and particularly with AI, and that our users understand how to use any tool that is regarding AI. Thank you, Luis.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. Thank you, all of you colleagues, for the very interesting considerations and responses that you brought. Sadly, we're reaching the end of our panel here today. But before we go, I'd like to yield the floor to each one of you to share your final message to our colleagues here in the audience. I'll do this alphabetically again, if you allow me, inviting you, Brahma, to go first, sharing your final message in 1 minute.
Thank you, Luis, and thank you, all my esteemed colleagues. It's a wonderful discussion. All the powers and perils of AI we are discussing here. Without trying to sound cliched, we all have heard of the term, change is the only constant. and AI is bringing about that change. We accept it, we love it, we hate it, whatever we do about it, we have to accept the fact that AI has come, it has arrived, and it is here to stay. We should not be afraid that it will be a Terminator-like situation in which it will try to kill the humans, it will try to take over our society, it will try to, it has some, bad intentions for us. No, we have to really like and embrace it for the power it gives us. For AI is an extension of humanity. So it is our product. It is with our intelligence, it will probably never reach and replace our level of critical thinking and intelligence that I mentioned just a little bit ago. But it is here to improve our efficiency. We should recognize it. We should help it to help us. But at the same time, we must have the human element in the loop to make sure things don't go astray, just like a self-driving car. We don't have to hold the steering, but we have to be present there, looking out, making sure it follows the right track. And should it need any course correction, we are here to do that job for AI. As long as we recognize that, we are on the right track. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brahma, for your final considerations. Federico, would you like to share your final thoughts with us as well?
Of course, Luis. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to share with you all. And to sum up, Parliament must adopt our AI as a long-term strategic tools. Again, the key to success lies in the correct prioritization of initiatives, taking into account available resources, compatibility with existing systems, and the ability of this technology to adapt to future legislative needs. Only through a comprehensive and sustainable vision can parliaments ensure that AI become a driver of efficiency and transparency to strengthen democracy. Thank you very much, Luis. I thank you very much for having me today.
Thank you so much, Federico, for joining us today. Fuat, would you like to share your final message with us as well? I think you're muted, Fuat.
Thank you for the great discussion, actually, and thank you for having me. And the goal, what I would like to actually say for the last is that I definitely agree with Mr. Mishra here, and that the goal of AI or implementing AI in parliamentary processes is not to replace what works, but to build upon it and ensure that our parliamentary systems actually remain robust and responsive both today and in the years to come. And also we should keep in mind that AI is not just a tool for efficiency, but it's a means to enhance transparency, inclusivity, and the public's trust in our institutions. So we should keep these in mind. And I don't want to actually again say the same things that Mr. Fernandez just mentioned, like interoperability and scalability of the AI procedures or initiatives. But this is what we need to keep in mind. So AI is just not a tool for efficiency. It's a means to enhance transparency. And before I wrap up here, I'd like to actually extend a warm invitation to all of you to visit Turkey. And we'd love actually to share our insights and learn from your insights as well. And let's continue this important conversation. I definitely know that you've had Turkish coffee in the past, right? So maybe it's over a cup of coffee, we can have this discussion, or maybe at the next AI summit in Ankara. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fuat. Just on a personal note, there is a huge Turkish community here in Brazil. I love Turkish foods. So just to make this very personal note. Well, thank you so much for your participation today. And I'd like to invite Kirsten to share her final message as well. Kirsten, please feel free to use the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like we've just started talking about all these topics. We have a lot of terms, a lot of words that everyone mentioned. I was appreciative that I heard ethics and transparency and accountability, public engagement. These are tools. And I would love to continue the discussion over coffee because, again, we just touched the beginning parts of this conversation about how we can empower our elected officials and our decision makers to make good decisions for all of us and that impact all of us. And so I am so appreciative of everyone's remarks and Luís of your thoughtful questions today, and happy to continue the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. Thank you, all of you.